English translation, 116th contact, Saturday, 28th October 1978, 11:53 hours. At the beginning of the contact, Quetzal first tested his device constructed for me, but it did not fulfill its purpose.
It is very unfortunate that the device is not functioning in the manner that we hoped for. Indeed, it is fully functional, but for reasons that are incomprehensible to me, it brings you no relief.
According to what criteria have you manufactured it, then?
According to the exact analytical recordings of our apparatuses over your body.
Then a worm is just stuck in the pipeline somewhere.
That will be the case, and I will also find it out. Therefore, do not be anxious, for under all circumstances, I will make the device functional for you, even if I myself can no longer bring it to use with you together.
You speak in riddles, my son.
We will understand ourselves equally once I have explained everything to you. But in any case, it will be so that you will be connected to this device in each case by a robotic apparatus, which will come to you and also ask you to wait at a certain place for this.
I really do not understand you.
I have decided to maintain no further contact with you for the time being, because everything in your group has become overbearing to me. I have held counsel with all our parties about this, and they are all agreed with it. This means that I have come to you today for the last time, and that no further contacts will take place any more in the future.
So, and why that, if I may at least still ask? What things have I now messed up that you act in such a manner? And does that mean that no one at all will come in the future?
That may very well be concerning your last question. Concerning the first two questions, I have to tell you the following. Various circumstances caused me to make a very detailed analysis of all group members again in the last days, which in most cases, unfortunately, yielded very deplorable results. These results prove absolutely unambiguously that the intrigues in the community still exist as before, and that recently, even certain tendencies of a seizure of power appear again, which are divided into various peculiar forms. At the same time, the faults with you yourself are not minor, for you have not already taken thorough measures recently to prevent such unfair machinations. You have been too soft in this respect and have not brought that logical gavolt, a type of power, untranslatable to application, which you would have had to bring to application.
So your words mean that I have simply failed, right?
That is of correctness, for you have not taken the members of your group into those tight reins into which you would have had to take them. Through this, it has arisen that the bonds of solidarity of the group members among one another are very much looser than what was the case thousands of years ago. Also, the majority of the group members is still so caught up in itself in many matters, as this was the condition before they came to today's existing group. This means that the same selfishness, the same strength of jealousy, and many other negative things are still present in them like before with the old personalities, by which means a true group union can occur just as little as also a useful cooperation. But this means that the task cannot be fulfilled, and thus it is useless to watch with hopes even only a single day longer, because every attempt at an improvement is nipped in the bud. The group members are not willing to change their thoughts, their emotions, and their conduct so that it could lead to a success. I will not mention any names of the group members to you, as this would only lead to contentious actions in the group, but I would like to mention some things which every group member should think about. There is such a group member who is strongly occupied with thoughts of taking a leading position in the center and in the group itself, which cannot go on, however, in any case. A group such as this provided and charged with such an important task, may never come under such a leadership, but must be controlled from the community itself through uniform adoptions of resolutions. It may never come to the fact that an individual can bring in a leadership or guidance himself or herself in such a form. A leadership of this group solely means that it concerns a guidance, which is, in all aspects, only of an advisory form and which, besides, must also be formed organizationally in order to be able to direct the necessary works. Except you, however, such a power presently does not exist in the group, for not one single group member has the necessary capabilities to take on such a guidance. You, on the other hand, you who hides all the capabilities for this in yourself, you have shamefully neglected your duty in the form that you have not acted hard enough to curb the unfair machinations, the petty jealousies and the egoism, etc., in the individual group members and to speak to their conscience, because so—
But now make a point. You talk just as if I have not sufficiently—
You should not interrupt me, please, because it truly is as I say to you, for otherwise everything would have already recently changed for the better, which you—
Now that is enough for me, damn it, and now do not say again that I should not interrupt you. I am not standing here just to listen to your damn reproaches. I have truly tried everything possible to teach everyone a somewhat different form of thinking and acting. But when they constantly and repeatedly do the exact opposite of what I say and explain, then it is really not my fault. Quite simply, I have become tired of the damn drama in this kindergarten, and now I hold my tongue. I will no longer interfere in these things, and it will stay like that. If everything should now just go to hell, then it just should. In the future, I will no longer attend to my work at all. Rather, I will fulfill an old dream of mine and write fairy tales, period.
That is your concern alone, for by the fact that you are not able to get the group members on the right track, you also do not fulfill your duty and bring our entire mission into question. But this means that everything has become simply useless and our contacts do not make sense anymore. You could not change even the malicious egoism of the group members and their self-centered sense, whereby a core group membership for all newly interested parties fails from the start. In various group members, the self-centeredness is so pronounced that they presume themselves to be more educated and of more value than those who newly come to the group. They believe themselves to be more knowing and to have more rights, and thereby shock honestly interested parties who would gladly like to be included in the core group. But instead of one being helpful to these interested parties, one goes against them and denies them the necessary information in the sense of a community spirit, as this is, unfortunately, common among the Earth humans, namely that only the association members would have a right to more detailed information, etc. as it is. My friend, new group members could never be found, who would work themselves into their tasks because they all feel shocked already before they even have the thought of making a request for reception into the core group. Just as little cordiality and sincere love and necessary sense of belonging are offered to these people, as also to the occasional interested parties and other visitors, etc., they are all treated as strangers and as dumb, unknowing outsiders before whom also a rather primitive secretiveness is operated, coupled with an unworthy arrogance, which does not exactly contribute to the fact that a confidentiality can arise. So this is true in general, and the case with the German-born Rudolf serves as an example, who is very interested in all things but who is simply ignored by all group members, though his interests run toward a group membership. Certainly. It is, at the same time, of correctness that various aspects are present with him, which he must change very quickly if he is to belong to the core group, but the already existing group members likewise have faults, which they must still resolve. Indeed, there are some very ungood things in this Rudolph, which he must discard very quickly and even immediately if he wants to be received into the core group, but that gives no right to the already existing group members to suppress him and set him apart. Through this dumb, infamous conduct, which I can only describe as primitive, it has also happened that the monstrosity could appear that 2 group members from the time a few thousand years ago have been forfeited for the present time, as this has proven itself in the last days. The 2 were destined, through their own and our determination, to take on greater tasks in the present group area and in the fulfillment of the mission, which is why they were also interested recently in the actual concerns of the group and all of its overall connections and tasks, and appeared in the center for the monthly group meetings. Due to most existing group members' unbelievably primitive and infamous conduct, discriminating against the cause of our mission, however, both of them were so shocked and downright disgusted that they withdrew themselves and now go their own ways. And as our extremely precise clarifications relating to this have revealed, there is no longer even only the smallest possibility that the 2 will once again get in contact with the existing group. Precisely these 2 were those who already possess very high values and who would have been of utmost importance for the moral and togetherness-related development of the group. But due to the outrageous and already bordering on dissolute and malicious, malignantly primitive conduct of most existing group members, this was thwarted and destroyed, and indeed without the possibility of a reparation, as I already explained. Therefore, the group has destroyed itself to such an extent that we can no longer continue to work with it, for there is no hope any more for a change. For more than 3 years now, we have tried to be helpful to you all, and also to give you all guidance for your lifestyle and your living together with other human beings, but everything was useless and for nothing. Most of the group members still conduct themselves as boorishly as ever toward their fellow human beings, and in no wise do they strive to restrain their emotions, such as selfishness, jealousy, lies and secret observances, spying on and mocking and insulting the other group members and outsiders, etc. No efforts are made to live in accordance with the true recommendations, or to follow the rules of regulation, which have been specially prepared by the High Council for the group. Very regrettably, it is to be said that only very few have changed themselves for the very best and strive in the deepest form for an internal change. There are, however, only 3 of these of whom, however, also only one exceptional case strives for everything so far, in the most sincere and deepest measure, that very good and great successes are recognizable. This is a deplorable fact that can no longer be overlooked. Under these circumstances, there is no longer a possibility for us to continue to remain in contact with you, because our task is also destroyed by this destruction.
Is that your last word?
Yes, unfortunately.
Then is there really no possibility anymore?
There would be this possibility, but it no longer seems to be acceptable under these circumstances.
Then at least tell me this possibility.
It would be useless because no change should be expected of the group members. They would continue to live in such stubborn doing, according to their own senses and emotions controlling them, as they have done this up to now.
And if they would, nevertheless, still pull themselves together now. If they would finally act in accordance with what is right according to creational laws,
then the possibility of another but definitely last chance would be given. However, we cannot let ourselves get involved in that, because everything points clearly and precisely to the fact that there will be no change for the better. Indeed, only the three would strive further for everything in a sincere or halfway sincere form, as I have just explained this of the three.
Do you really believe that?
With great probability, this is so. Our probability calculations resulted in an 83.4% probability that it would be so. We cannot let ourselves get involved with such a high negative value number, however, as this would also endanger all our other works.
I understand, but please tell me the possibilities nevertheless.
As you wish. But it will be useless. We are breaking off our contacts, that is certain. But we would be prepared for renewed contacts if true, deeply founded changes arose in all those points that are objectionable. This would mean, however, that the contacts could, under certain circumstances, first be taken up again in several years, if you would get through the time until then. But it does not look like that, according to your very bad state of health, and if our device should not help you. But on the other hand, there is no longer enough time so that we could bear such a long contact interruption, because in 4 months at the very latest, everything would have to have progressed so far that our whole mission could fully and entirely and finally proceed in sufficient measure. But if that is not the case, then a renewed contact no longer makes sense. On the other hand, which is just as serious, it has resulted from the boorish and infamously primitive conduct of most existing group members that two very important and predetermined new core group members have withdrawn themselves due to the shocking effects impressed upon them. And these will not turn again, not with all of our available means to your group and therefore to our mission. This means that the two important persons would otherwise have to be replaced. But there is not the possibility of pulling any other persons out of the mass of terrestrial humankind, which is why they would have to be witnessed as descendants in your group. But for this, we would have to let special arrangements be issued. Unfortunately, this would also delay everything in the execution of our mission, by which means everything would shift, and doubtfulness would appear as to whether the overall mission could still be fulfilled at all in this manner. But this would also mean, under certain circumstances, that you would have to give up your center in order to begin everything anew at another place. But certainly the fewest group members would muster up the will for that.
Nice. But tell me, how do you imagine that simply 2 descendants would have to be witnessed? And what special determinations should there be?
We would first have to let these things be clarified by the High Council. But it would certainly look like this, that for this task, a young married couple would be determined or else a virgin, who would be inseminated as such, and would also bear a child still as a virgin.
Do you mean that even with the young married couple, the woman would still have to be a virgin? Or am I mistaken there? And at the same time, are you also thinking of an artificial procreation?
That is of correctness, and evidently you understand very well what I am getting at with my explanation.
I have, after all, not fallen on my head.
That would be the possibility which would delay everything, however. This would, however, also require that you also finally exert yourself fully for our entire mission, and finally instruct the group members in how they should behave and what they have to do, and let be done.
Do not start with the idiocy again, because you know full well that I have tried everything possible.
That does not seem to be the case, however, for otherwise they would have already learned it long ago.
Quetzal, you can stuff it. Get lost and go to hell. I am finally fed up with all this shit, and I have tortured my skull for the last time today. I am simply fed up and am going now. I am not taking part in this damn drama anymore. I have already killed my nerves, therefore you do not still need to give me reproaches. Tell the others from me that I do not want to see any one of you all anymore, and that I let them say adieu. I also say the same thing to you now, and now for me, you can go to hell. Just get lost.
You are extremely excited because your nerves endure nothing more. Yes, I will go as you wish, and I will not come back.
Then finally go to hell, damn it, adieu.